Aftab was not there with us yesterday, I think. Aftab, were you there?
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible after.
Ma'am, actually, today I'm free. Yesterday I'm not on the circle.
Okay, so yeah, Shima, go on. You were saying something.
Another person, Siddharth Datta. Siddharth, how are you doing? I think you're joining our circle for the first.
Yeah, I have joined first time. I just signed up 2 days ago. So.
Okay, welcome.
Great. Yeah. Welcome to Men's. Perseverance and persistence is the key to learning whatever you want to learn in your life, right?
Yes. Right.
All right. So we are going to be talking about parenting again today because we are into the season where we are talking about various kinds of parentings. We're talking about how parenting should be, how parenting should not be. And we are on to the 4th season of ISCA, Indian Specialized Counselling Academy on Mensa. And Mensa and ISCA have collaborated on to giving a space to everybody every day for 1 hour from 12:30 to 1:30. So that people can come talk in complete transparency without being criticized, without feeling judged, and talking in an open communication.
Yeah, can I join in a minute? Just there's an issue in this thing.
Sure. All right. So continuing with the parenting, anything any one of you would like to add, talk about the kind of parents you have had, or if you are a parent or if you're in the process of becoming a parent, if there is anything which you want to share before we go on to talking about mindful and authoritative parenting, because yesterday we were talking about helicopter parenting. Before that, we were talking about uninvolved and neglectful parenting. And when we were talking about all these parenting styles, we discussed the characteristics. We spoke about what these parenting styles basically have in them and how they conduct themselves and what are the impacts on the children. And today we are going to be talking about mindful and authoritative parenting. Anybody? Do you have the idea of what is the meaning of mindful parenting or authoritative parenting?
Okay, sorry, I missed you guys.
Between mindful and authoritative parenting, why don't you take it over?
Okay, so mindful and authoritative. Authoritative, we say that it's the best kind of parenting where having, warmth is there, control is there, and whatever is required in the right amount. We are engaged with our kids. We know what's going on. There's open communication, and we consider it very good. So, in mindfulness, Ashima, can we say that mindfulness is a completely aware about what kids are going on? It's like holistic approach. कह सकते हैं कि when we say it's a holistic approach होती है mindfulness. It's like whenever we want what kind of parenting is required, and we are giving that kind of parenting. It's not that in authoritative we need to be every time we need to be the way it is. Sometimes we are giving authoritative parenting. Sometimes we are giving permissive kind of parenting. Sometimes we are behaving like authoritarian kind of parent. We are having high control.
No, Archika, not that. When I talk about being permissive, I am not mixing and matching. This is not that I take one ingredient from there, I take that ingredient from there. Parenting has to be a whole mix of something, a holistic approach. And for that is the reason we have brought in authoritative and mindful today. Because if I talk about permissive parenting, authoritative parenting is a style of parenting in which the parents are trying to involve the children But yes, they are not giving 100% permission to the children to do anything and everything they want. So I think authoritative parenting already have the element of giving that permission. And when you add that mindfulness element to it, it becomes deadly. It becomes a deadly combination. Did I make sense to you?
To some extent it does, but sometimes what do you say if I say that sometimes we do that, ऐसा नहीं होता कि हमेशा हम एक ही पैटर्न में चलते रहते हैं being a parent. ऐसा तो नहीं होता. Sometimes we do behave in a different pattern. We मतलब
No,
we do
authoritative
go for a
pattern.
different
Authoritative has every element.
No, not in complete way. It's not कि हम पूरा अथॉरिटेरियन वाला बिहेवियर हमारा आ गया है और वही सारी चीजें हम कर रहे हैं. No. I was saying कि अगर holistic approach किसी भी चीज में लाते हैं तो उसमें जो ingredients हैं इनसे pinch of flavor of this and pinch of this and whenever it's required sometimes permissive भी हो जाते हैं हम. Okay fine, and emotional भी हो जाते हैं. तो when we are very emotional, okay you are a boss, you decide what you want to do. Okay, हम अपने बच्चे को ये भी कहते हैं कि ठीक है. Then we say कि नहीं इतना अगर रूल बनाया है और रूटीन बनाया है तो you have to follow this no matter what. बोल दिया कि रूटीन में ही सोना है, सुबह उठना है, and you have to follow the timetable, so you have to do this. Fine. Then when we have an open communication, okay, what is going on? What you are feeling? What you want to share? क्या problem चल रही है? कैसे solve करना है? It's like that. I was saying कि हर पैटर्न को हम पूरी तरह से उसको इम्बाइब नहीं करे, पूरी तरह से उसमें इन्वॉल्व नहीं, उसी ट्रैक पर चलते नहीं है. But as and when it's required, according to the situation, according to the, whatever is going on around, we change our behavior, we change our pattern, we change our parenting, we change our role sometime. We become friend, we become parent, we become, like a Hitler at times we behave. So this is the kind of parenting I think everywhere is going. Nobody is giving up one like okay, I've decided कि मैं एक authoritative parent बनने वाला हूँ या बनने वाली हूँ और मैं ऐसे ही behave करना है मुझे, no matter what is happening. क्योंकि इस pattern में ऐसे किया जाता है तो इस तरह से मुझे behave करना. I don't think practically, and I think I want to ask you कि practically ऐसा हम कर पाते हैं क्या as a parents? And I want to ask everybody who are there कि ऐसा होता है कि
when I
parents
talk about all right. Okay. I think Archika and me are getting into a little, into a discussion. So just making the points clear, when I talk about an authoritative parent is not a dictator, right? Authoritative parent is the one who is flexible, who is setting rules. But if the child says, I want to set honestly, Archika, how many parents really know these terms? Authoritative, authoritarian, neglectful, uninvolved, helicopter, mindful. Everybody is experimenting. So what you're saying makes sense because every parent is experimenting. So when you talk about experimenting and trying to do everything, whatever is required as per this time and space, so that is the reason when we bring in the concept of mindful and authoritative. These are the two deadly combinations because in this, the parent is trying to do anything and everything which is needed as per the situation. So when you talk about authoritative parenting, it is all about, involving the child. And mindful means you're trying to understand every aspect what your child is making from a very detached angle rather than being emotionally involved in the way that, you just give a carte blanche to the child. Carte blanche means blanket permission. So you are not giving a blanket permission to your child. You are still talking. Yes, there would be times when your children pester you. Mama, aaj to 2 video games khelni extra. And you're trying to reason out, you're mindfully thinking, is it okay to give the child the 2 games to play? Is it all right? Kahin bigad to nahi jayega, bigad to nahi jayegi. And nahi, acha apna kaam kiya hai, ye kiya hai, wo kiya. And then you're giving. You say, acha chalo, okay, today a special favor is given, right? So when you're talking of that, when you talk about being mindful and authoritative at the same time, which means you're bringing, because communication, the major important thing about a parenting is communication between the parent and the child. And if that communication is made, is happening, then there is no problem, you know. And if the parent is able to look at things in an objective manner rather than being a dictator or or putting their own frustrations on their children, it is all right. They have the right to experiment. Every parent is experimenting. I think experimenting is better rather than following a set pattern, because most of the parents would follow the patterns which they see around. मेरे मम्मी ऐसे करती थी, मेरे पापा ऐसे करते थे, तो I'll do the same thing. My friend is doing this, let me do it. So if we are doing what others are doing mindfully, by thinking whether it is okay in our kind of situation, is it okay for my child? It is absolutely all right. As we keep saying, every parenting is different. Every child is different. Every parent is different. So every parent is taking elements and putting them into proper use to make sure that the child development is happening rightfully. The child takes the parents as the friends, but he or she also knows where to draw the line. He or she also knows that my parents are always holding my back, and I can always go back to them, talk to them, anything, try to understand everything. Fear factor can be there, cannot be there. But this idea that if I'm into a situation where there is a lot of problem, wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, my parents will stand by me, they will support me, is what makes the major difference for the child.
Agree, completely agree, and you're very correct. So I think, the one statement you made, I really like it, that we are not actually aware that what all types of parenting are there, and we don't do this analysis, we don't assess our parenting. We always judge and we always analyze that what we are thinking ki, and majorly we get influenced by others like society and people, what their kids are doing, how they achieve that. Okay, they join that coaching center, they are opting for these subjects, and she got success and now she has become this, so I think my child should also get this. So most of the time we are getting everything from the outside, and we are trying to do these experiments most of the time, not everywhere, and we actually don't know. Before this discussion, I think most of the people must not be aware that what kind of parenting they have got, और whatever उनको जो parenting मिल रही थी उसका कोई नाम भी था, कोई definition भी थी, या ऐसा भी होता है कि अच्छा इस तरह से भी parenting हो सकती थी. What do you say?
Absolutely. Anybody who is listening, would you want to? Yeah. Ashish.
No, it's Amrish. Yeah, Ashwan.
Amrish.
Yes. Hi, Achika.
Hi.
No, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't join the earlier two sessions, I guess, but it was just something I couldn't help. Really intrigued by this discussion, and I guess I'm kind of partly educating myself and partly kind of juggling the ideas that are popping up, as I hear your thoughts on this. So yeah, like the point you were making, Archika, about, being more adaptive and flexible between kind of swapping yourself, between parenting styles, and kind of accommodating depending on the context that you may find yourself in while dealing with the kid, right? So this is something that I'm curious about. Like, to what extent do you think this is possible? Yeah.
I think it's all depend how aware we are and what kind of understanding we are having, what kind of environment and what kind of upbringing we are looking for our kids. So can you specify in what context you are asking? Like
Yeah,
how
I mean,
you...
see, I guess, this kind of adds to the point that the question that I raised even before, because in all fairness, I feel like this whole idea of conscious parenting in itself is like, something that we've been recently even made aware of, right? So, and we have our own baggage and we have our own kind of upbringing that kind of exposes us to certain parenting styles. Like, you tend to consciously, unconsciously repeat the same patterns that you've been dealt with as a kid. So in that sense, I was wondering, like, the degree of freedom one has to really, let's say, commit to, like, it sounds like the ideal thing is the mindful parent, right? That's what you would want to be. But, in all fairness, how much...
Amrish,
Yes,
both,
correct.
actually. Mindful and authoritative.
Okay, both of them are ideal. I see. Okay. Yeah. In that case, I guess, I would want to, imbibe these two in my parenting, I guess, experience. But it's I guess, the point that I'm trying to drive at is, can one really, I don't want to be in a position where I'm kind of making the kid a guinea pig, essentially, and I'm kind of experimenting, as to what works or what doesn't. I want a more grounded, a more sustainable change in that sense.
Parenting, what is the idea of it? Amrish, do you already have a child? Are you already a parent, or...
No, but I'm going to become one. So yeah, in that sense. Yes.
Great. So Amrish, can you go back to your father and your mother? And if you were to analyze the parenting style which your parents had, could you give us an insight into it?
Yeah, so I wouldn't know how to term it, but I guess, especially from my father's end, it would be neglectful and almost absentee father in that sense, right? And which kind of meant that I was more closer to my mother. She was, the one that I sought for caregiving and sort of validation and communication even. So that's how I would term it. Yeah.
And you're the only child, or you have siblings?
No, I have two siblings, elder brother, sister.
So, and when you look at your elder brother and sister, have you ever spoken about your parents with your brother and sister? And have you ever gotten into the discussion? Because they already must have their children, right? So you must be observing your sister and brother, the kind of parents they are. So do you try to relate them to your own parents, or you try to get inspired and say, oh, my brother and my sister are doing great job? So
no, they definitely are not. And that's what scares me about it, right? That how limited a predisposition one can have to really being, a better parent, right? So in that sense, I kind of worry because my brother pretty much seems to be kind of repeating some of the patterns that my dad had, but at the same time, like, there is this overcompensation bit where he doesn't want to feel guilty for that, so he's like kind of doing some corrective yet superficial stuff, with the kids. So, yeah.
So do you feel he's trying to connect with his kids, or because he realizes that your dad was a little neglectful, so as you said, he tries to compensate, but he's not able to get the insight that is not going to help, because the communication with the child is really important.
Yeah. He is not able to get through to them, and partly because it's like, he hasn't worked through his own trauma, in that sense. And that's where it's like the whole idea of therapy in itself, comes with its own baggage, and people kind of are reluctant to commit to it or come to it with kind of, unfair expectations, I would say. Right. So that kind of works against the whole idea.
Avnish, I would like to ask you certain questions before you're absolutely right. And what makes you a little better is that you are definitely trying to understand things from a different perspective, because you believe that something has gone amiss and something can be made better. So you're already on your journey of understanding things. I would like to ask you, how do the children look up to you as a chachu and a mamu? I mean, mama and chachu.
I'm their favorite. I mean, in that sense, I'm really good with kids. I mean, I'm able to kind of get that lightness out of them, be more pally and friendly, and put them at ease, be playful with them, all of that stuff. So yeah, it's like kids have this ease, around me.
And do they really open up and communicate their darkest of fears or secrets with you, or you feel no, they reserve themselves? I am the chachu who's the good one and who can do good things. But when it comes to sharing, they are afraid if they share it with you, you will go tell their parents, or they
No,
share
I
it.
don't think that that is the case. But again, I don't know if it, the kids really have any, let's say, dark secrets as such that they're holding back
They
on.
must be small.
Yeah, right. No, I mean they're not really like one of my nephew is in 8th standard, I think 8th, 9th now, and so they're kind of coming of age. But at the same time, yeah, it's like the relationship is more grounded and authentic. They do feel that sense of freedom in coming up to me and talking to me about things if there is something that is bothering them, or they don't feel judged, is what I'm trying to imply.
Yeah.
They feel that sense of comfort around.
Yeah, so they can communicate with you. That's what you're saying. So they don't have the fear that you'll judge them or you'll go tell their parents. They have this understanding that if you go to them, they are going to help, get help from you. If nothing, you will at least give them a little, pat on the shoulder and tell them, don't worry, it will be okay. Or don't worry, it is all right. So they probably have that kind of, feeling with you, that they can communicate and feel relaxed. And do they also take you seriously?
What do you mean seriously?
Seriously means that, let's say, if there is a situation where you feel that बहुत मजाक मस्ती हो गया and you've done a lot with them, और आपको लगता है now you tell them, listen, now this is something which we have to do. You have to understand what I'm saying. You have to follow my command and do whatever I'm telling because this is really needed.
Yeah, so that is, I mean, at times that happens, but at the same time, there are times where I feel like it doesn't really translate. Where like that more strict or disciplinarian attitude that I could show is not really received well, because of course the kid kind of expects certain what do you call it, easygoing attitude from me, right? So for them to kind of take this idea that I'm suddenly kind of being more task driven is not something that they are able to.
And in the case of your nephews and nieces, if they are not doing what you're telling them, you sometimes can just let it be, because your brother, your sister, your brother-in-law, your sister-in-law, they are there to take charge and care. But when it comes to your own child, I'll give you my own example. But before that, I'll go to Vaibhav and Amit had a little problem. Amit, we are sorry. We are interacting in English, but most of the time we try to. Amit is there in the group or has he left? Amit, are you there, dear? He wants us to speak in Hindi. हम लोग हिंदी में बोल सकते हैं, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है अमित, but the only thing is कि वो continuity जो चल रही है ना, because there will be a lot of people from different parts of the country and even the world. So sometimes English is the language which is understood by most of the people. We are not trying to be the Angrez, because English per se, it is a universal fact, has become a language which is understood by all and many. And yes, there are countries who would still not recognize English, but we don't disrespect anything so long as we are able to communicate. Vaibhav, good afternoon. You were listening to us, the communication with Amrish, Archika and me. Do you have anything to say or ask, dear? You are relatively here for... Yeah, go on, Vaibhav.
So first of all, thanks for bringing this beautiful topic.
Hmm.
So what I think mindful and authoritative parenting goes together. So I mean, if someone is authoritative as well as mindful, it's the best combination for the children. So I was listening to Amrish, and I love the all the things that he said. I mean, I'm kind of Amrish guy, so I truly agree with what I mean. The nature of Amrish is also like matching to me. So what I have to say about parenting is most of the time it is an inherited thing which we get from our parents. But what I realized, I mean, as I grew mature, that what missed between me and my parents is that communication, that hesitancy to speak about
Hmm.
certain things. Like, so as a kid, you when you grow mature, so some points come in your life that you face some situations, but you cannot talk about with your parents, and eventually you end up doing some making some bad decisions. So
Hmm.
these kinds of situations, I think, could be removed if we have a proper communication with our parents. And that generation that we had earlier, like my parents, so they thought that talking about these topics, these sensitive topics, is not their cup of tea, or is not something which should be talked upon. So even they did not focus on these topics except from the topics that are in the mainstream, like कहाँ पे रहना है, कहाँ पे आपको पढ़ाई, स्टूडेंट क्या मतलब, क्या कैसी पढ़ाई चाहिए आपको,
Hmm.
क्या
Hmm.
स्कूल होना चाहिए. So these were the only mainstream topics. But
Hmm.
eventually when you grow up, you have all kinds of emotional and hormonal changes going up. So उसके बारे में कोई नहीं बात करता, right?
Hmm.
So
Right.
that is what I feel is missing in that previous generation, and which we need to catch up as a parent with
Hmm.
our children.
True.
So
True.
so
Are
that
you
is
a parent already, or how's it?
I'm not a parent.
Hmm. So you would be sometime in future.
Sometimes I would be, but yes, I when I talk to my father, I just say that yes, these are the things which we have missed. So I now talk openly to my father and my parents. So because the
All
thing is,
right.
we have grown mature now. I can say what was wrong, what went well. But
Okay.
yes, there is a good difference, and still there is, and there will be, because that cannot be met. I think, but with
Hmm.
me as a parent and my child, I want to remove all this hesitancy and this gap.
Hmm. Wow, that's beautiful. I think we have two beautiful conversations happening here simultaneously with Amrish and Vaibhav. And what Vaibhav had to say is that now he talks everything to his parents, and he even points out to his parents that, wherever he felt that his parents were not doing the right thing. I have a question to ask from you. When you tell them, do they take it with a pinch of salt, or they say, oh yeah, हमसे गलती हो गई, or they say नहीं
No,
नहीं हम तो
no,
बिल्कुल
no,
सही
no,
थे?
no.
Yeah, yeah.
The thing is, as a parent, they are more like a hard stone. Okay, so they still feel they. I will tell you specifically about my father. Okay, so
uh,
he has answers to all the questions. If,
right.
even if he has the answer to all the arguments that I make, no,
uh,
so he will prove himself right always. So this is the tendency of my father. But the only thing after this happens, now this kind of situations, is that I left that place and I will go. So this is the
hmm,
only thing that
hmm,
happens. Yeah.
hmm,
So it
hmm.
happens.
So, which means you have matured, you are ready to talk, but from their side, they still, because they don't have that insight, and they don't want to accept that something could have been changed at that particular moment. They are not ready to accept, because do you think the fear is there that they accept that the child will say, see, मैंने तो
No,
आपको बोला था, आपने मेरी parenting ठीक ही नहीं करी है.
no, I will tell you, Ashima. So the thing
Hmm.
is, so at this point, there is no point of talking this to my parents. But
Hmm.
eventually,
Hmm.
जब ये चीजें आती हैं, when you
Hmm.
recall all your past and all, तब थोड़ा सा रहता है कि थोड़ा सा friction होता है. But
Hmm.
at this point of time, there is nothing no point at all, because अब वो चीजें गुजर चुकी. Now everything is sorted. We are both are mature. He's a man. I am a man. I have things to do. He has his own things to do. So we don't collide now. Okay, so we know each other's responsibilities and we mutually do all the things. Now he respects me. I respect him. And I don't have a tendency to hurt anytime to him. So yes, it's going smooth. And the best thing, Ashima, we can do is here to not to talk about the past, which I feel I should not do that. But yes, kabhi situation friction aa jata hai when we recall about the past. So I tend not to make anything bad out of it. I just leave the place. So that's the only thing which I.
So you have matured over a period of time, right?
Yes, I have. I think I'm mature now. Yes, I'm all mature.
And you're ready to change as a parent because you feel when you will become parent, you would not want to repeat all those things which have happened with you and between your father. So you have been talking about your father. We have not spoken about mother. But before that, I have invited everybody. Sorry, Anurag, I invited you again. My bad. Anybody else? Suraj is also there. We had Noor also. We had Akhil. We have so many people. Archika, shall I be saying names of everybody? Savan, Bhaskar, Shubham, Finu, Baldev. All of you and a lot of more people. My dear friends, do you have anything which you want to add on? Because parenting is the best phase, or I think it is the phase when we really are, as a child, grasping everything. We are making our beliefs. Our parents help us making our belief. And all throughout our lives, in our unconscious mind, somewhere or the other, certain belief patterns or some cognitions which we follow are given to us by our elders, especially our parents, because our parents are the ones who are around us all the time. And like Vaibhav says, I also have a relationship, my relationship with my father also, even my father has not been able to get that insight. I also sometimes feel that if my father was as friendly as, I could, or my mother was as friendly. So because I just asked Vaibhav about his mother. So mothers and fathers, if any one of them is compensating, is becoming friendly, and as Vaibhav was mentioning, hormonal changes, it is happening. Like my kids are like 11 years now. They are definitely having hormonal changes, and then we are talking about the crushes happening around. So when they can come and talk to you, I try to relate to the times when we could actually not talk to our parents anything, because we are so afraid that if we were to tell our parents anything, that will be backfiring on us in some way or the other. Not that our parents were wrong, just because they were also into a set pattern or in a loop where they thought whatever I am doing is right is what ruins everything. Vaibhav, you want to say something, dear?
That they think that what they think is the only written on the hard stone, that yes, if it's said by me, it is the only thing that is right. So,
and for them it is a learned behavior which they are not ready to change. And with the advent of the psychological findings, with so many talk and now social media, those psychologically things were happening for a very long time. And when we go to the Indian ancient scriptures, there is so much happening. And you have never seen that dictatorship element in the parenting when you go to the text of the ancient scriptures and all that stuff. But somewhere things went amiss and they changed. So we started becoming dictatorial parents. And even today, when you see so many kids facing so many problems psychologically, or even in the educational levels where they are caught into the courses which they don't want to do, but because Sharma ji and Verma ji's son is doing so, Khanna ji's son should also do that. And that mindset of the parents still keeps pushing children into directions which they don't want to take. And that is the reason when we talk about mindful and authoritative parenting. See, I don't know if you all have had parents where your parents would come back to you and say, sorry beta, मैंने आज गलत कर दिया है. I'm so sorry, चलो इसको correct करते हैं. Or your parents coming back to you and say, thank you बच्चे, क्या करता है, क्या मजेदार. Wow, wonderful, thank you, you really made my day. ये thank you, sorry और appreciation, क्या ये तीन शब्द आप लोगों की पेरेंट्स ने हर मौके पर यूज किए हैं. Very important aspects of parenting. You know, again, parenting is like you're walking on a tight rope, but you have to just relax. Archika, Amrish is okay. Amrish, you're unmuting. Go on.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, yeah, what you said, right? It is really a tightrope because nowadays I've seen this, I've read a few articles around this idea that, we're really breeding fragile kids, which means essentially that, parents end up validating every tiny thing that the kid does, that's even, in terms of quality, it's remotely good, right? And you are kind of going out of your way and kind of making the kid feel good when he's not really earned it, right?
Yeah.
So, and that can really lead to self-esteem issues, which I guess we already see in the next generation, right? And that's where it's like. I guess we have to really be mindful in knowing where the line is and kind of being realistic with our own self, that we don't always know what could be the right thing in that context.
Being mindful is really important. Archika, you've gone silent. Vaibhav is writing something. Vaibhav, would you want to say it, whatever you've written?
Yeah, so there
Please
is
watch Ye Meri Family, okay? Go on.
That series that I was watching yesterday also, season 3, and there were a lot of things that kept on happening between parents and children. Like उसकी मम्मी उसको होली नहीं खेलने देती हैं, and ultimately the parents said sorry to them. The mother came to the child and said sorry. So yes, this was a thing that left me truly amazed by this series. So please all watch ये मेरी फैमिली. It's on Prime
भाई
Video.
मैं अपने बच्चों को सॉरी बोलती हूँ, थैंक यू भी बोलती हूँ, बट yes, as Amrish said, over validation or superficial validation is what is not going to be taken in the right stead, because बच्चों को हम बेवकूफ अगर समझेंगे तो वो हमें बेवकूफ बना देंगे, because children are very, very, very smart. They are observing each and everything around them, and best so, they are observing each and every behavior, style, attitude, the level of conduct of their parents at every moment. I keep experimenting with my kids, and I'm watching them very closely, and my daughter and son being born together, they are so poles apart, and I have two mixes happening together. Let's go on to Umesh. Go on, Umesh. How are you doing? So how does this topic? You are a parent yourself.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, Archika, ma'am, Amrish, and myself too. They are the 4 speakers only, right? Okay.
Good one. Yeah.
So topics there means how we are understanding our kids means, and how we are parenting. I do not have much of this one, but what I can do best for my children, that I do. I do not know what is the good, what is the bad. What is the best from my view of the point I am trying, whether it is for behavior or for nursing to them, give the environment, what I have learned from my parents, what I am seeing in the society, good and bad. So bad things, if I say these are the bad things, I keep in the side, and I give the best thing to my family, my children. So every parents do these things. So, but even though it is the best things, but it is something negate, bad things also in that one, in view of some others. We are doing the best, but in the best, something would be the bad that we are not doing. Other people can be realized, other people can be observed from their view of the point. But every parents want to do the best for their children, their family.
बट वो बेस्ट की डेफिनेशन क्या है उमेश जी? जैसे माँ बाप बच्चों को बोलते हैं कि भाई यही कोर्स करो, हमें पता है शर्मा जी के बेटे ने भी ये करके बहुत अच्छी जॉब ले ली है, वर्मा जी के बेटे ने भी बहुत अच्छी जॉब ले ली है, और वो खोसला जी के बेटे ने भी देखो कितना बढ़िया कर लिया है, तो तुम भी यही करोगे जो हम कह रहे हैं. और जब नहीं पापा मेरे बात करो, मेरे को ये नहीं करना है, और वहां पे एक डिस्प्यूट हो रहा होता है, तो वो फिर एक कमांड बन जाती है।
देखिए वो जो ऐसा बोल रहे हैं ना कि दे आर गिविंग द रेफरेंस ऑफ द अदर्स, वो उनको जो अच्छा लग रहा है, जो उनका माइंड ने कंडीशन हो चुका है, जो उनको लग रहा है, वो उस हिसाब से अपने बच्चों से कर रहे हैं। जो हमारी नजर से, हमारी व्यू पॉइंट से रंग है, गलत है, और जो हम कर रहे हैं वही जो ये रेफरेंस दे रहे हैं फैमिली अपने बच्चों को कमांड दे रहे हैं, वो हमको गलत समझ रहे होंगे अपनी नजर में कि यार दे डोंट हैव एनी सेंस, उनको नहीं पता बच्चों को कैसे डेवलप करना चाहिए, प्रोग्रेस करना चाहिए। उनकी नजर में हम गलत हैं, हमारी नजर पे हम उनको बोल रहे हैं कि वो गलत तरीके से अपने बच्चों को वो कर रहे हैं।
तो पेरेंटिंग जो है एक, खैर मेरे को पेरेंटिंग 10 साल, जब तक मेरे बच्चे अभी 11 साल के हो गए, एंड वी डू हैव केसेस जहाँ पे बहुत सारे टीनेजर्स में बहुत मेजर इश्यूज आ रहे हैं, क्योंकि ये बात फैक्ट है कि देयर इज नो प्रॉब्लम चाइल्ड, देयर आर ऑलवेज प्रॉब्लम पेरेंट्स। मैं थोड़ा सा रेस्ट दूंगी। अर्चिका, तुम तो गुम हो गई भाई।
No, I was enjoying your conversation. It was going good, and I didn't want to, interrupt, disturb the momentum.
So अभी अमरीश, वैभव और उमेश जी से बात करके तुम कौन से निष्कर्ष तक पहुंची हो पेरेंटिंग का? यहाँ पे एक पेरेंटिंग का पूरा, अभी हमें खिचड़ी बनानी है, पुलाव बनाना है, कि हमें मतलब अलग अलग डिशेस को अलग अलग कंपार्टमेंट्स में रखना है, बिरयानी भी बनानी है?
Parenting, when all of you were talking, so everybody was having their own perception, everybody was having their own experiences, and somehow, somewhere, Vaibhav said, ki, okay, my father is like that, and he must be having some strategy and planning in mind, and as well as Amrish, that, okay, when I'll become a father, I'll not do this, and I'll become a father, I'll try and do this. Not just being a parent, we do this, or when we don't become and we are about to, we make a strategies and planning and schemas, blueprint in mind. ये हम करेंगे, ये हम नहीं करेंगे ऐसे. But sometimes, please do tell me, all of you do tell me, क्या ऐसा होता है कि practical life में जब हम उन्हें apply करने जाते हैं, तो ऐसी बहुत सारी चीजें होती हैं जो हम सोचते हैं पर हम नहीं करते हैं और कर नहीं पाते हैं. वैसे कि ओके, ओपन कम्युनिकेशन रखेंगे, इतनी बात करेंगे, लाइक अमरीश, nowadays you are talking to your niece and nephew, saying कि okay, they are very comfortable with me, they talk everything with me, okay, वो सब कुछ बात कर लेते हैं मुझसे, बट जैसे ही मैं उन्हें कुछ सिखाने जाता हूँ या I dictate them, so they like, no, we are not expecting this from you and we don't want this from you, we have our parents to do that. So when you become a parent, please.
Yeah, so that's, that brings me to an interesting idea, right? Archika, like, in the earlier generations, there was this idea, the saying goes that it takes a village to raise a kid, right? And because that whole community living has kind of disappeared, and more we've moved toward the nuclear family concept, right? I guess that's what has led to this overemphasis on parenting, right? It's all on us parents to kind of dictate or kind of guide the child's future, and it's like almost the burden is not spread over across a community or a group of people. It's like you pretty much are responsible, and in a way it kind of seems unfair, right? Because you yourself can see how flawed life has been, even with all the well-intentioned ideas you had in mind, you cannot really control how kind of life unfolds. And the same kind of goes for the kid, right? You will not be in a position to kind of control how things develop, and that means you have to be realistic.
Exactly, Amrish, and that's what I was saying, that rather than making so many schemas in mind, so many blueprints, so many buildings and plots, उनको इतना सारा खिचड़ी, जो आशिमा कह रही थी, खिचड़ी पुलाव, ये सब पकाने से अच्छा है एक बेसिक कंसेप्ट माइंड में रखा जाए, एक बेसिक लाइंस ड्रॉ की जाए, उनको प्रायोरिटाइज किया जाए कि ओके, व्हाट वी वांट, हाउ वी वांट. First and very important thing in every relationship is communication. So बच्चों से communication रखा जाए, communication gap create ना किया जाए, listening, मतलब first please give them space, give them time and listen everything what they are saying, what they want to. फर्स्ट वो बॉन्ड बनाया जाए जहां पे बच्चा छोटी से छोटी गलती करे एंड यू नो दिस कॉन्फिडेंस गिविंग टू द चाइल्ड, दिस इज समथिंग वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इन पेरेंटिंग, that give that confidence to your child that I am having your back no matter what happens. कुछ भी करके आओगे, किसी भी गलती को करोगे, प्लीज बेटा बस मुझे बता देना, I'll take care, प्लीज कीप मी इन अ लूप. इतना कॉन्फिडेंस जब आप बच्चे को दे देते हो तो सही गलत की जो लाइन होती है, द लाइन, दे आर एबल टू ड्रॉ दैट लाइन, यू नो. एंड वेन एवर वी कम टू पेरेंटिंग वी ऑलवेज फेस दिस इशू, हाउ टू से नो. अब बच्चे को राइट और रॉन्ग कैसे समझाऊं मैं? सो रादर देन सेइंग कि नो डोंट डू दिस, rather than do this, okay, I'm saying ये मैंने बोला तो ये करो और ये मैंने नहीं बोला तो नहीं करो. इससे अच्छा नहीं होगा कि हम ये बताएं कि अच्छा ठीक है आप ये करोगे तो ये कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज होंगे और आप ये करोगे तो ये कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज होंगे. नाउ चॉइस इज योर बेबी, बेटा आपकी चॉइस है, क्या करना चाह रहे हो. आई एम ओके, आप गलत भी करके आप फेस करना चाहते हो तो चलो ट्राई कर लेते हैं, या सही करके आप थोड़ा सा उसको एक्सपेरिमेंट करना चाहते हो, ये ट्राई कर लेते हैं. नो और यस को एक सिंगल वर्ड में कहने के बजाय उनको एक्सप्लेन किया जाए कि ओके डिफरेंस क्या है, you know, reason, giving them reason why we are saying this, what is the logic behind it, so that becomes easy and they do understand and the process start, you know, there's a churning होने लगती है माइंड में. ओके ओके इतनी सारी चीजें बताई, कुछ तो होगा, something must be there, तो सोचता हूँ क्या करूँ. Mom said this and okay fine.
Yeah, I agree, exactly. You know, meeting the kid where he is instead of imposing all your expectations, I guess seems like the
Having brought the word expectation, okay, you go on, Archika. Then I'll add to that communication. I have one valid point which I want to add. Please carry on.
Okay, so basically what I've observed from the researches and the cases and from my own parenting, from my parents, and I'm a parent myself. So when you give the confidence, this is a key. When you give confidence to your child and you tell your child that, okay, I am with you, I'm having your back. बेटा जो भी करोगे मैं संभाल लूंगा, मैं संभाल लूंगी, ओके कैर प्लीज, इतना कहना बच्चे को बहुत मायने रखता है.
I think I'd like to add, Archika, what you're saying. I think to tell your children कि you give them both the situations कि भाई ये करोगे ये हो जाएगा मेरे हिसाब से, I give you a free hand, but at the same time we all are making mistakes all the time, right? If we can make our children a party to our own experiences and share our experiences and take feedback and feelers from them, because we treat our kids as somebody who has no knowledge, no understanding, but they're very smart, intelligent people and they have a lot to add. So if instead of keeping them out of all the, you know, the family discussions or whatever is happening around in the family or whatever discussions have to happen or decisions have to be taken, if they can be involved and become a part of it and there is a discussion which is open, so they get to know, just, you know, you tell them I have your back, but you make it okay, you make it evident to them by making them a part to everything. For example, if you're not feeling happy and good about something or something happened to you, if you tell your child, you know what, I'm not feeling very happy today, something bad has happened and I really don't know how to process it. And the child would definitely want to ask you, kya hua? What happened? Why are you like that? Why are you sulking? Why are you frustrated? We have seen the times when children are also very frustrated. You know, a lot of times we are frustrated, but when we don't want to share it with our children, we'll just shove them away. We'll just shoo them away. Instead of doing that, if we can make them a party to our own experiences, I think they'll be able to learn. Yes, we'll have to get judicious about it, but I don't think there is anything so major that cannot be discussed with the children. That makes them mature. Absolutely. It has to be age appropriate. Like we have Webber talking about hormonal changes and everything, I think it is really important. They are going to undergo a lot of hormonal changes. And yesterday we had this gentleman, Kumara, talking about his infatuations with girls and he getting infatuated or attracted to a girl in every class, but he could not speak to anybody. You know, but if your children can come and say, oh, I really feel that girl looks good or that boy looks good, and you can just if they get it out of their system, where I don't think there is anything wrong. Yes, I mean, if parents have that much of communication, so be it. Now, again, having said that, it is very, very each parent-based thing. But yes, open communication is the key, right?
Yeah, Shima, when we learn this thing that we are into communication, we are having this bond. So whatever you are saying, I agree. And जब हम शुरू करते हैं bond बनाना, बात करना, so actually automatically you get to know that how to tell and how to share each and everything on what stage with your child. This is actually comes itself with the stages.
Not necessarily. A lot of parents are restrictive in their style of parenting. They want to give. Like, for example, we had, who was saying just now, that, no, I think Amrish was only saying that parents today are giving everything to their children. They've become so giving that they want to be giving everything or compromising or just compensating. So when you're compensating, drawing the line and trying to understand the communication style, it takes a lot of effort. Like talking about the sexual changes, the hormonal changes, the age appropriate changes is something still very difficult for the parents, a lot of parents. So I think they have to start very young, at the very young age when the children are tender, and you start talking of them in a style where the children can understand in a playway manner. I think that would probably make the bond stronger. Starting it young is the tagline today, but talking in such a manner that the children really understand it and they process it. For example, when you talk about a boy and a girl, everybody knows they are different. Now, when they are different, it is very difficult for the parents to talk about both of them together. I think it has to start from there. Both the parents should be able to speak to both the children, about what is natural, what is a part of it. People are not able to talk about the genitals of the children or the sexual organs or the reproductive organs. It is something which has to happen from the parental side. Otherwise, it becomes something very awkward to discuss when the children go out in the outside world, because that is something which they are not able to process. So something which is so normal and natural in us, in our human bodies, it can't be made abnormal. Vaibhav has come back. I think he wants to add something. Bhaskar also has said hi. Hi, Bhaskar, come in. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think which I'm going to say is can be added some in a different topic. But yes, what I have observed is that somewhat parents are also, they have this tendency in themselves that they want to make their kid super smart, and they just want to look in front of everyone that yes, my kid is smart. He can speak well English. He is like, and they're adopting some of the methods or some of the practices that forget that they do not give importance to our ground roots, actually, that the roots which we belong to, and they just are trying to be super smart in front of others, and the parents are doing that. So here the responsibility of parenting is going in a different pathway altogether. So yes, this is the point that I wanted to make, that what could be done what could be done with the parents to not to do these kind of things.
Very valid point, Vaibhav. Bhaskar wants to speak. Let's bring him in. Go on, Bhaskar. I'll come back to you, Vaibhav. Bhaskar? Yeah.
Hello.
Are you speaking, Bhaskar?
Yeah.
Go on.
Speaking on हिंदी.
आप हिंदी में बोलेंगे?
हाँ जी.
बोलिए.
मुझे इंग्लिश नहीं आती.
कोई बात नहीं. अभी तक जो डिस्कशन हो रहा था, मेरे ख्याल से आप सर्कल में शुरू से हैं. क्या आपको समझ आ रहा था क्या डिस्कशन चल रहा था?
नहीं, मैं तो सुन रहा था वो आप लोगों की बात.
हाँ, तो आपको वो सब समझ आ रहा था?
समझ में तो नहीं आ रहा, वो सुनने में बहुत मजा आ रहा था, आप लोग वो बातचीत कर रहे थे।
अच्छा। So, आपने मेंजा ज्वाइन किया है अपने आप को अंग्रेजी के अंदर बेटर करने के लिए?
हाँ हाँ
ठीक है, बहुत सारे अच्छे सर्कल्स हैं भास्कर, आप ज्वाइन करते रहिए, और लिसनिंग इज द फर्स्ट थिंग टू इम्प्रूव योरसेल्फ. ओके, सो अच्छे से सुनिए, कॉम्प्रिहेंड करिए और खुद को रिकॉर्ड करिए, कई स्टाइल्स को फॉलो करने की कोशिश कीजिए और देखिए आपकी टोन को, आपकी स्टाइल को, आपकी आवाज को कौन सा स्टाइल अच्छा लगता है, और फिर उसको न्यूट्रल करके नेचुरल बनाइएगा. ठीक है?
हाँ, ठीक है.
ठीक है, good. So going back to what Vaibhav said, Archika, do you want to add something? It's just 1 minute 55 seconds. So Vaibhav has a very valid point. What he said. A lot of parents, they would, put their children in front of their friends. Oh, see, मेरे बच्चे को कितना अच्छा poem होता है. चलो बेटा गा के सुनाओ. हाँ, देखो कितना अच्छा गाता है. And they are looking for approvals. For them, their child is some kind of a trophy which they want to, show off. And I think it is very important for the parents to create a bond with the child where the child is comfortable, the parent is comfortable, and it is a comfortable relationship. If the child is feeling good about exhibiting themselves or talking about, because we all love to brag, right? Arey dekho, maine kitne achhe number laya. Oh, see what a car I have. Oh, see, I have a lot of friends. So we all have that tendency. But while doing that, we should ensure that we don't put our children into uncomfortable situations. So if we want to, sometimes we are genuinely trying to show people the accomplishments of our children because we are proud of them, because we are proud of our own accomplishments, and we showcase or show them also. So long as we are not just doing to brag, and we are just wanting to have a good time, and we are feeling proud about our children, I think it should make sense. What do you say, Vaibhav? Yeah, so absolutely. So the bond between parent-child has to be a beautiful one, and it takes a lot of effort. God bless you all. Thank you. Take care.